Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am glad to see you all here.
Good evening.
Hoping that everything is wonderful. Let me fix this.
We hope all is well and that everybody has recovered from all the eating that you possibly did over the Christmas holidays, but that you enjoyed your family and you were filled with lots of laughter and love.
And we're so excited to be with you for the last time in 2022.
Yeah.
The next time we'll see you will be in the new year,
Next year.
new flavor, new life, all of the above.
And we're just looking forward to God doing some great things in 2023. Not that He's not capable of finishing out the year strong for many of you, but for many of us, because it's still some promises that are out there that haven't come to pass yet. But we got a new opportunity, new year right around upon the horizon. So just wait on it. Just wait on God.
We're looking for God to do some great things in the new year. Like TD Jakes said, get ready, get ready, get ready.
Get ready.
We definitely believe that God is going to do some great things on next year. I know we're getting ready to get into our talk this evening, but I would just like to let everybody know that I'm real optimistic about the new year. I really feel that God is going to do some great things in this year to come, but I believe that it totally depends on our attitude. So let's go into the new year with a positive attitude, a positive outlook. Leave 2022 in the past, even though we hadn't made it yet, but put it behind you. All of the bad, all of the hurt, put it behind you and let's move forward.
Absolutely. The busiest 6 weeks of your life. This is probably what some can consider the busiest 6 weeks of your life, from Thanksgiving to the New Year's. And I say it's said because there's so many different emotions tied into that 6 week time frame, from Thanksgiving to New Year's. People are preparing for family to come in, both Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. People are preparing for buying of gifts as they do, holiday traditions, some good, some bad, bereavement. There's been so many things that have changed in a person's life from one year to the next. And it has caused people to, as we say, go into a state of depression. And that can make this 6 weeks, that time frame long, because there's so many expectations during the holiday season. Pressure, television. Watching television brings about a different expectation of everyone as they watch different TV shows, because some TV shows, they have people spending lots of money and everybody don't have it. And, as we talked about last week, set a budget. If you don't have it, say you don't have it. Don't just fall into the swiping your credit cards and or just borrowing money because you want to. But then we have the expectation that our children, they want these things. And we have a little guest with us today that is loving to be on the camera.
Yes. And when you were talking about those 6 weeks, I was just thinking about how as we wind down pregnancy,
Yeah.
winding down pregnancy, and during that the last few weeks, we're in that nesting stage, and we're preparing for our bundle of joy. But then sometimes throughout the course of that preparation period, you come across some hiccups, you come across some stumbling blocks.
Right.
You may get a bad report things may not go as planned. And so that can totally change the outcome of the pregnancy at the end, whether it's for the mother or the unborn child. But I was just thinking about that, how we prepare and how we plan for things, and things don't always work out how we had hoped that they would. But even in the midst of that, we still continue to plan and prepare. You have to plan and prepare even for the worst, because those times will come. And things don't always go the way we had anticipated.
Correct.
So when they don't go like we anticipated, how do we rebound from that? How do we move forward? How do we understand or even change our perspective on the fact that, yeah, it looks bad, it sounds bad, they're giving me a bad report, but how do I maneuver through this? How do I manage? How do I cope? How do I deal with even during, because that 6-week period is supposed to be the almost one of the greatest times of the year, but for some it could be the worst time of the year.
But I think planning kind of helps with all of that. Even if it don't go exactly to your plan, just the fact that you did have a plan will make it a little less, stressful or a little less problemsome when you actually have had some form of plan in place. So I think it's important that we kind of, I mean, you always, things are always subject to some change.
Right.
But when you have a plan, at least you got an outline or a go-to or some form of direction that you're at least trying to achieve. And it's so hard and it's so important that, we do something. A lot of people do it. I don't do it. I quit doing it years ago. Many years ago, I used to do a New Year resolution.
Okay.
And I found out that the resolution didn't work because just saying it without planning it was just that. It was a resolution.
Right.
But there was nothing ever resolved in it. And I found out that just saying what I'm going to owe this year, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Yeah, but, New Year, the celebration, if you're still eating the same way after the New Year's that you was eating before the New Year, you're probably going to gain some weight instead of losing. And that causes you to go into this state of almost like a depressed state because you had such high hopes, but you had no plan of achieving the things that you said. So I think, a plan will at least, even if it don't work directly to the plan, at least you got a sense of direction.
And tonight we're talking about complicated emotions. So I get it about the importance of having a plan and at least trying to stick to that plan the best you can. But when things become complicated and you have emotions tied in with that, because none of us can plan for death.
No.
Can
we, to a degree, you can't really say this is how I would feel, or this. I mean, really wrap your mind around the totality of what all emotions that's gonna bring up and how it's gonna make you feel if something were to happen to a particular loved one. Nobody can plan or prepare or anything for that. That's one of those times that even the best of plans just might not.
But I think, and it's kind of ironic that you said that because I was approached with something even just today that concerned death. And I think, we often hear people say signs come before destruction. Warning comes before the destruction. And I think God has a way to soothe his people before something chaotic or destruction happens. I think God will always give us something. Sometimes we just don't pay attention,
Right.
but God will give us something. And I think we have to start being a little bit more sensitive to the spirit, because the spirit man will warn us about what's about to happen to the flesh. And I was approached with a situation this morning, and upon kind of talking with the person, they was pretty much saying that there were signs,
Right.
and there was warnings, but no one listened.
No one listening.
And because nobody listened, now that the death has occurred, everybody's kind of like in that, you're kind of in that state like, I can't believe God allowed this to happen.
Right. Right.
But like the song say, we have to accept what God allows.
Mhm.
And we understand that life is a wonder. It's a miracle from God, but death is also gain.
Right.
So if we're living right, we understand that death is coming. It's coming. As soon as a man is born, the Bible says he's full of trouble. So death is coming, but we have to be prepared. And there's that word again, preparation. We have to be prepared, and we have to prepare for things that we really don't want to deal with.
Right.
But
What happens when it occurs suddenly?
So going back to the question that was asked about being prepared, let me say what happened with me. Before my dad passed, the Holy Spirit was like, "You're gonna eulogize your dad," and I was like, I wasn't ministering then. I wasn't in the pulpit.
right.
So I was like, what? I don't understand it. And I told one person, and that was it. That October came, and the Holy Spirit came back and said, your dad will not make it till the end of this year. He said he will not see the new year.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I'm listening, but did I prepare? I didn't. But maybe that gave me the ready to prepare my mind mentally. It was sitting back in here, but his health was declining. But anything can be turned around.
You saw the transition.
I saw the transition happen. So was I ready for it when it happened? I still wasn't ready. I knew it was going to happen because when my mom called me and told me, Keon, I need you to come.
Mm-hmm.
My mind knew right then
Right.
that he was about to expire.
Right.
So that prepared, I think, the Holy Spirit telling me that prior to was my preparation to be ready for that part of the transition to come. So I wasn't as emotional at that time when it happened,
Mm-hmm.
but it hit me after the fact. So can we prepare for it? There can be some things that can get us ready. But you never know how, as we said before, you never know how close someone is to a person.
Right.
It may change because it may make you really understand, man, they're gone. So can we prepare?
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. And I think that's when a lot of people say, I know how you feel. Sometimes we don't really know how a person feels.
Right.
Just because you lost your dad and I lost my dad, our relationship could have been different.
Absolutely.
So I can't say how you feel. I can say I sympathize for you.
Right.
But I don't necessarily know how you feel because of their relationship.
That's right.
So in this season of preparing, we know that eventually somebody's going to pass.
Right.
So that's why it's important for us to make sure that we give each other our flowers today and celebrate our lives today, so that when that transition happens, we won't feel like I should have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of that distraction or that distortion that comes in and says, I should have spent more time. I should have made more phone calls. I should
Because I
have.
think that's what leads up to the complicated.
Right.
Where I just look at people's relationship status,
Mm-hmm.
and it's complicated.
Complicated.
What's making it complicated? How are you How did you aid in the complication? What is it about the relationship that's complicated?
What makes relationships complicated?
Uh,
Since you're under the 30
Those
threshold.
situationships.
Situationships, okay.
Now that was complicated.
See there?
I don't
The
really understand.
situationship, it gets a little complicated.
But how does it affect you emotionally? How does it affect you?
Never been in one, so I
Okay.
can't really. I don't do those.
So you don't do relationships.
I do relationships. I don't do situationships.
Okay. Okay.
A situationship is kind of the in between, like when you don't really know, like if you girlfriend, boyfriend, friends, it's the in between.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm really kind of lost on that. So, but I'm a little bit older too, so I guess that kind of
It's common.
changes. I may not know about situationships, but I do understand complicated relationships, and I definitely understand that relationships can be complicated depending on the emotional attachment.
Or
Or
sometimes the emotional detachment.
true. Just depends on what end you're on,
Mhm.
because you can be in a relationship and one person is emotionally attached and the other person is
Checked
hanging out.
Right. Right.
Hanging out. I don't really know if we can call this relationship or whatever, but that's the way it is. So we do understand that they can be complicated, but I also think that when you preparing, like going in, I think we need to start simplifying.
The holiday season.
We need to simplify the holiday season. We need to simplify our emotions, how they get caught up during this time of the year. And I think we need to just totally simplify our lives. Some of us, our lives are so complicated
Right.
that we really get so bogged down in the complications that we really can't enjoy life.
Enjoy life. Right.
And that's what most of us do. We're so stuck and we got so much going on
So busy, being busy.
Mhm.
that we're time is literally just passing us by, and we really don't understand what happened to the time. And you'll look up and you'll say, "Oh, by this time, I was supposed to be here."
Mhm.
And the reason that you didn't make it is because one, you weren't prepared, and secondly, you allowed so many things to bog you down to the point that you really couldn't accomplish anything. And some of us,
Distractions.
we're just like she said, we're just busy. We're just really busy for nothing.
Right.
We like the idea of being
Being
busy,
busy.
so we can tell people that, oh, I got so much going on.
Right.
But
Because
do you really?
what validates us.
Do you
Mhm.
really have so much going on?
Probably not.
I heard a lot of people say, "Oh man, I got this business right here, and then every time you turn around, can I borrow $20? Man, you got 5 businesses. I mean, at least you should get a check from at least one of your jobs,
And if
You
they
got
not working,
jobs
you might need to
everywhere.
switch it up a little bit.
right? But they love the idea, and they'll tell people all the time, "Man, I got so much going on, man.
Right.
I got so."
So I think the busiest 6 weeks can turn from six weeks to 6 months, and next thing you know, you at the
6
end of the year.
Right.
You at the end of yet another
Another
year,
year.
and you have accomplished absolutely nothing.
Right.
Because each one of those times, the key word was busy.
Mhm. So instead of doing a New Year's resolution, maybe we should sit down and just try to plan out some of our life expectations, as we talked about before, expectations.
And do some self-evaluation.
Self-evaluation. Just try to figure out, first of all, where I need to go.
Right.
I mean, if you have a family and we all can sit down and do our own planning on what we expect out of ourselves and go on, so on and so on. we talk about, and then let's talk about a family expectation.
Right.
So that we all can figure out how we can best work this piece of puzzle, because it can be overwhelming if we allow it to get too busy.
Right.
That's one thing that me and my wife, this is the first year we've been married 26 years. This is the first year that we've actually decided to do a business plan for the year.
Right.
You know, what our goals, what our expectations for the next 12 months. And we're actually writing it out,
Right.
you know, making a plan.
Right.
How we
Vision
going
and
how
make
we
it-
going to accomplish this, and so we can go back as the year goes on, we can see where we're at.
That's an accountability.
It's an accountability. It's definitely a level of accountability that will keep you focused to the point where if you falling out, then you can say, you know what, let me go back to my plan, because I fell off somewhere and I
Go
need
back
to
to
find
that
out
roadmap.
where did I fall off. And that's with salvation. That's what the Bible does for us. The Bible gives us a map that will keep us accountable for our spiritual lives.
Right.
And not just our spiritual lives, but if we really read it and go by, it would give us a level of accountability for our natural lives. Because the Bible said we should be lenders, not borrowers.
Right.
So how can we be lenders without having any form of access or wealth or resources?
To tap into.
You know, how can we be what the Bible is telling us that we should be if we don't have a plan to get there?
Right.
We expect God to just drop it down, you know. Oh man, I'm gonna play this lottery, and that's how God is gonna give me my $1 million.
Right.
If you look at the reports, whenever people get money quickly like that, it normally leaves as fast as it came.
Right.
Most
no
lottery
plan.
winners are broke today. I looked up the research. I think it said like 85% of all people that won the lottery
Right.
lost their money within the first year.
They just spend.
It's because it came with there was no effort, no work, no preparation, nothing done. And when you don't prepare, you got to prepare to receive money.
Right. Absolutely. And since you made the statement that y'all been married 26 years. 26 years.
Ooh.
Or just say, for instance, a couple came to you for counseling in October, knowing the busy 6 weeks are going to come up. How would you guide them or lead them into preparing for that holiday season? Because now we're looking at, we just really started dating, and I'm just, they just started dating, or they just started a new job, and now we have to separate, our lives in between that to see who is, which family we're going to visit, for the holidays. And without sitting down and talking about it, it can cause a major split up.
That's right.
But how would you lead them into that?
So let's first see what your plans are. What would you like to see happen over this big busy 6 weeks, over the next 6
When
weeks?
you say what were you talking
So you
about?
go
Are you talking about the
individually.
man or
You go individually. So let the man, and then you see, because you may find that there are some common ground or some areas that you can find some common grounds. So if both of you were planning on visiting family, okay, so if we set up a time, that goes with making a plan.
Right.
A step, and you make the plan before the holiday comes. Don't wait until, well, you know what? It's Christmas Eve. I was planning on going to my mama tonight. Now, why you even talking about going to your? So you got to make this plan and preparation before the time comes. One other thing I want to add, as we're talking about complicated emotions and during the holidays, a lot of people go through seasonal depression.
Right.
So, okay, so if previous years you already knew that around this time, around Easter, around whatever season, It could be winter, spring, summer, fall season
Mhm.
that has you depressed. What is it that triggers you? That triggers that level of depression? How have you combated it before? What have you been doing? So if it was some things that you were doing before that didn't work out so good, don't try those. Don't try those again the next year, because you know what? Until Jesus comes back, winter, spring, summer, fall's gonna come. All these seasons of the seasons, the holidays are all gonna come. So prepare. At prepare, you even have to start preparing mentally. So
Right.
okay, so I gotta brace myself, and I gotta prepare me some new coping skills, some new tactics,
Right.
to combat this. Because if I don't, I'll go through this season in that same level of depression. Then next year, I'll be talking about it again next year. I know that Halloween is coming, and every year for the past 6 years, I've been depressed. What is it that you are doing to take your life back, to take that season, to take that holiday back and start proclaiming it as something good?
Right.
Not looking at it and already, you can just look at the calendar, pull up a calendar and already get filled with anxiety, and you're all tensed up and stressed out just looking at the calendar. And we're in December at this point, so you're already anticipating March to be a terrible month. You're already speaking that into existence.
Right.
So how now are you going to speak some positive things over September and actually prepare for a better September?
Jada, how are you going to prepare for next year? How many we got? Oh, we got days. I just thought about it. We got days.
So going into the next year, I mentally did a vision board. I didn't put it out on the thing. But I just mentally did a vision board, and I prayed about the things that I had on there. And I just pray that the Lord give me like direction on if this should be on my vision board, or girl, that ain't gonna work out at all. So yeah, just kind of prayed over those things and asked for guidance. And then the stuff that the Lord told me to focus more on, I'm already planning on like, how am I going to do this better, or how am I going to execute the plan that I had for this certain thing.
So Jade, I really want to challenge you to take all of this out of your head and actually put it to paper, so that way you can have a daily reminder. And then because sometimes, our head gets so filled with so much other life events.
Right.
And that will cause the vision to be blocked. So when the vision gets blocked, you had good intentions of executing this thing by this certain date, but because you got blindsided by something, because stuff gonna happen throughout the year, right? So as things happen, you still got this vision board right in front of you every day. And even I just want to encourage people to do them some positive affirmations, because it's a lot of people who have had negative things spoken over them, or just fed into them. And that's what their life has consisted of, a lot of negativity. So if you're not bringing no positive vibes my way, stay back.
And,
Get out of my face.
and just to add to what you're saying, we have to understand that the enemy's job is to kill, steal, and destroy, and we understand that the battlefield is in the mind. So the first place that he's going to attack you, especially if you have this grandiose idea, or you got all of this mental preparation, the first place he's going to attack you is your mind. So that you will forget exactly. You know, I can't tell you how many times that God had placed something inside of me and I didn't write it down, and I would say, "Oh man, I lost it."
Mm-hmm.
That's the enemy snatching it when I should have wrote it down.
Right.
So I've learned I learned over the years to always keep, like, I try to keep something, a pen, some paper close by my bed.
Mm-hmm.
So if those thoughts come up, you know, I can just
Roll over.
I can just pop up, grab my pen and my paper and write it down so it won't be lost.
Yeah.
It won't be lost. And I often say that you know, the enemy becomes a dream killer because he don't allow your dreams to become a vision.
Right.
So many things get lost. It get lost in the dream before it becomes a vision.
Right.
You know, with vision comes provision. So if the enemy can keep it in your dreams and never allow it to come to fruition, then he's won.
Right.
So we have to always make sure that we write it down. It doesn't matter what it is. Get you a diary, or get you a day planner, get you something that you keep with you constantly that you can always utilize to jot down things that God is giving you, because so many times we lose.
Right.
We lose on the miracles that God has already put in motion for us because we forgot where to be, when to be, you know, at that place to receive what God has for us. And the other thing is that we have to make sure that we're available. You know, in order to, you know, we talk a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I just put it that way. Most of us are real good talkers.
Right.
You know, that goes back to that guy that I was talking about that said, "Man, I got so much going on."
Right.
Man, you ain't got nothing going on. All you got is a lot of talk. You know, and that's the reason it's so important to plan, because a lot of times you can have a lot of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And your ideas will make you think that you got so much. Oh, I started a business over here, started a business over here, started a business over here. I got I ain't gonna say no names, but I got a person that's close to me. He's a visionary.
Right.
In my lifetime, I can't even count how many businesses this individual has started, but never followed through, because he would never really put it down and make a good plan and a good proposal, and could have put it before people that had the resources. This guy could have been rich 100 times by now with just the ideas, because his ideas became businesses for somebody else.
That's the intuitiveness.
So I think we have to slow down enough to really see something through. And we'll never see nothing through without a good plan. My grandfather used to always, he had this word, I didn't know what it meant. He said, "Go get me a skeleton." I didn't know what a skeleton was. But basically he was saying, write it down.
Mm-hmm.
Skeleton was your rough draft.
Right.
Bring that to me. I'm going to look over it, and then either I'm going to okay it or turn it down.
Yeah. Business plan.
It was a business plan.
Right.
We didn't understand it then, but what he was saying is give me a plan, something concrete that you thought about, you wrote it, you took enough time to write it down, and now you got ideas of how you want to proceed with this.
Right.
Then you bring it to me, you know, as a backer, or as a mentor, or a
Because
partner, right?
You know, that's important, because you know, like sometimes, like you were saying, people can do a lot of talking, but they actually hadn't taken the time to actually sit down and think it through.
Right.
They got a lot of wild hair ideas, and
Need to be plucked out.
some are really good.
Mhm.
Some are really good. But how are you? And don't just come to me wanting to know what I'm gonna do to help you. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do to get it up and going? If I'm gonna be a help,
Right.
that means you got to put in the work. Because again, it was your vision. It was your vision. And nobody is going to carry your vision through like you, because it was given to you. The how, the where, when, why, all of that. That was all given to you.
And if you want my provision, you need to have a real good sales pitch, because I'm tight with my corn. I can't tell you how many times my child, I'm not going to say no names, but they have a green cap on. I can't tell you how many times my child has said,
Baby, don't look at me because I'm
yeah.
not a child.
you know, Dad, I got a good idea.
He talking about the other one. She got a green hat on too today.
Ooh, I got a
'Cause I got 5 ideas. She knows.
I got a good idea. And I would say, okay, child with the green hat on, yellow right. I would say, okay, child, what's your plans? You know, how you gonna put this together? That's why I'm coming to talk to you. No, you ain't. You're not coming to talk to me. I'm not a silent partner. If you bring something, and that's the way I work. If you come to me without your idea together, then you really come to me to give my advice. And when you come to a person for their advice, they can kill your dream with just a conversation.
Yep.
And the reason they kill your dream is because normally the person that you're gonna tell you everything negative about the idea that you had, because it wasn't complete.
Right.
If it was complete, then every time I have an objection, then you would have something that overcomes the objection. Like, you know, if you can balance out and you can really sell it to me and it makes sense, then I would definitely be one that would say, hey, go for it. Let's do it. But that's the problem. A lot of times we don't want to do the necessary work. We just really want somebody to just shove out and give it to us.
Right.
That way, if it fails, we didn't fail. I didn't use none of my resources.
Yeah.
It just failed. It didn't work out.
So I got a question. So how is it then that we don't transition this complication over from the holidays? Because January is the first of the year, but it's a holiday too. I mean, so if you still in this holiday season with these complicated, jacked up, messed up emotions and things going on, how do you not bring that over into the new year?
Because we say New Year, New Me.
New year, new you. What about you is new? Because it's still January.
As long as I say it, it's true.
Do you mean what you say?
You know, that's a cognitive distortion.
A lot of people do it.
Distorted.
A lot of people do it. As long as I say it, it's true.
So let's go with New Year, better me.
So if you say New Year, new me, and then when the holiday season comes, you fall right back into
Your
really
old
new.
patterns.
Then
Your
we're gonna
old
start
patterns.
back over.
See that's it though. You got you become a repeat offender. That's just how that goes.
going back to what Pastor Sam was saying about that plan. The same plan keeps coming, and nothing.
And that's what happens. People, you want to. You know, the Bible talks about that we can speak things into existence, but it doesn't mean just verbally.
Right.
You have to have the faith, the belief, and the work.
Right.
Because faith without work is dead. So there's faith that's involved, but there's work that attaches to the faith in order to make it happen. And that's how we speak things into existence. We don't just say, I mean, God is going to do them. Right. If that was the case, God give me $1 million.
Yeah.
Where's that?
He wants you to get out.
I still don't see it.
You appreciate it even more.
And the Bible says that he gives you the ability to obtain wealth. So that means
just
that
like you was talking about the people with winning the lottery. So if they got the same $1 million from working, they're gonna try to hold on to every dime. They're gonna be counting pennies because they've actually put forth some effort to getting it. It wasn't handed to them. They didn't get that. Wasn't a silver spoon blessing.
And the truth, if you lose $1, you're no longer a millionaire. You're 999,000.
You're a big thousandaire.
You're a thousandaire. You done lost your rank and your title. And
Oh.
that comes from not having a plan.
Right.
I just want to say, because this is so many people's next holiday, tax season.
Oh yeah.
That's a holiday.
Boom, boom.
That's a
Hey,
holiday.
see that,
Who kid I can claim?
you know, it comes with a theme music.
Keep me up.
That season comes with theme music.
It's people's
straight up
next
mystical.
holiday. But
Straight
you
up
know
mystical.
what? But then that's for 2023. 2024, they'll be saying, oh, I can't wait till I get my taxes.
Mm-hmm.
What did you actually do
No
with your
preparation.
2023 taxes? What would you do with that money?
No plan.
So if you don't start being a wise steward over what God has blessed you with, and that can be from resources to ideas to plans to, I mean, whatever it is, your abilities, your capabilities, if you're not a good steward over them, why would he continue to bless you with more? And many of us want him to enlarge our territories, but we don't even know how to deal with the little island that we own. Why would he give us the entire island?
Right.
We won't even mow our yard and on that half of an acre of land. So then you waiting on the big stuff.
Right.
So
And most people don't even understand. For a big portion of our demographics, during tax season, they receive probably about 50% of their annual income in that one day.
Mm-hmm.
At one time, you receive 50% of your income, and you have no idea. Oh, there's so many. I've been in business a long time, and I've seen people that made $16,000 a year receive $8,000
Right.
during tax season.
Yep.
So you done made $16,000 for the whole year, and you receive $8,000. And the first thing that they do, and Walmart be so proud. Welcome to Walmart. You know, they real nice to you
They
because
have all the lanes open in.
real nice because they know that these people are finna spend 50% of their annual income in less than let's say 2 weeks.
Right.
The car dealerships welcome you.
Foot Locker.
Come on, y'all, come on in. Zero down.
Cars for you, so love them.
You don't need credit. You don't need credit during this time
Mm-hmm.
because they understand that these people are finna give up.
Yep.
50%
and they
of their
will
income.
see them again next year.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because they're gonna be done lost everything before the end of the year. They will have lost. It's like the lottery.
Right.
Once a year for a big majority. It's almost like they won the lottery.
So speaking from a financial side, because this is an emotional, this causes emotional stress. How would you suggest people to invest or plan or budget, spend their, when they receive that much money?
It's so many ways, but one simple thing to do is really have a proper plan in place. So understand that the first thing you need to do is you need to decrease your debt load. So take that money and utilize it because you got this once a year. Take that money to take away some of your debt.
Mm-hmm.
That way your money that you normally make
Right. It's free.
will increase.
Right.
You don't have as many debts. So now throughout the year, you actually have more money to live off of because you have less debt. Right. And some people don't understand it that way. They make big purchases. No, don't make big purchases during that time. Don't make the big purchases. Put yourself in position that you can live better as the years go along. And if you do that every year,
Mm-hmm.
sooner or later, you won't have debt.
Right.
And now you actually living good. I learned this a long time ago. One of our deacons, when I was growing up, he worked at, I think it was maybe Kelwood,
Mm-hmm.
a place like that. He said his entire life. Now this was many years ago. This was in the early 70s, around 80s. He said he had never made over, I want to say $45 a week.
Wow.
In his entire life, he had never made over that. It was either $45, maybe $145, but it was a real low amount.
Right.
He had a house. He raised probably 10 kids off of one income. And we used to wonder, how in the world did he do it? He did not create debt.
Right.
He lived within his means, and he stretched his money to the point that it wasn't that I would like to say that he was tight, but he lived just as good as everybody else.
Right.
He had a car, he had a house, he raised his kids. They were never dirty. The clothes wasn't raggedy. Now they may have passed them down from sibling to sibling, but for the most part, they lived just as good as everybody else. So it's not how much money you make, it's what you do with the money that you have. So we have to be, and it goes back to what First Lady was saying, you have to be a good steward of what God has given you, and then he will enlarge your territory and increase it. But with every increase, your mind has to increase. So if you don't increase the level of your mind, you end up like Brother Sam here. Just, with every increase, I created another bill because in my mind, I can afford this now.
Right.
And before long, you put yourself in a position where, like that commercial, that guy said, "You like my house? Ain't it nice? Look at my wife, and my kids. They're beautiful."
Right.
Then in a commercial, he riding on his lawnmower. He said, "I'm in debt up the hill. Somebody please help me." He was ready to kill himself.
Absolutely.
And that's what we'll do. We'll put ourselves in a position where our expectations of our life overrides the means, and we'll be caught. We'll be caught in this juggling game where our expectations are really creating so many problems that we want to. I've always wondered, why do millionaires kill themselves? They're rich. Because when they got $1 million, they were spending $2 million. How can these ball players file bankrupt and be $5 million behind on their taxes?
Right.
It baffles me.
Right.
I just thought of something that may be a suggestion for somebody. So if you go through seasonal or some type of seasonal depression, when you get your income tax money, why don't you take a portion of that money? And if let's just say that July is usually the month that you struggle with the most. Why don't you take that and take you get a change of scenery? Actually invest some money in going on you a trip. I'm not talking about a big lavish trip,
right,
but just for a change of environment. So this particular July, you can start creating some new memories to reflect back on, so that when next July comes, you'll be able to say, you know what, I don't. Last July wasn't so bad. So you have a sense of hope, and you can start, looking forward to. Now you're not taking that income tax money and going to all the shoe stores, buying all the latest whatever. You're actually putting it towards mentally prepare your mind for some stability.
right.
Because when you are not mentally stable, it throws everything off.
Oh, it does.
You cannot function properly. So if this would give you a little peace during that time, if this will change your mindset during that time, it's worth the investment.
I wrote this down earlier. I said wellness is not only physical, it is emotional and spiritual as well.
Absolutely.
It is. But it's so hard. You know why?
Mhm.
Because that time of the season comes with theme music.
Right.
I need to pet. I need to pet. Keep me stopping in my Air Force One. Theme music, it kills them. They can't handle it. That theme music be popping, man. They start I got to go to the store. I'm finna buy me 2 pair of Air Force One, 4 pair of Jordans.
Yeah.
Because for
Everybody
the
in the
most
family
part,
gonna have
whether
Jordans on.
whether you've worked all year or however you collected your money all year, you didn't have like that big lump sum. That is your lottery winning
Right.
for that once a year.
Mhm.
And you look forward to that. So you just feel like, well, I need to treat myself.
Ball out of control.
Yes.
So before we close, we got a few minutes left, but we want to try to cover 10 expectations to reduce holiday stress.
Okay.
And it's 10, it's 3 of us. We all want to try to take a couple and just talk about it for a quick second before we go. I start off. Well, you want to start off?
Keep expectations realistic and manageable. Don't exceed your budget. Mind it. Relinquish control of other people. Make sure that before the holidays even come, establish you a budget. Even if you're gonna use your income tax money for your holiday spending,
Right.
set that money aside. But you gotta have some discipline and some self-control. Expectations. If you can't do it, like you said earlier, it's okay to tell them no. And don't put yourself in a place where you feel like you gotta do it.
Right.
Or else. Or else what?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Number 2.
Oh, I kind of skipped around.
Well, that's fine. Highlighted. We good.
And then I did the mind your budget. Budgets are important because that's your plan.
Okay.
It doesn't matter really so if you have children, of course you want to ask them what it is that they want, but keep it within your budget.
Right.
One other gift may be a birthday gift later on in the year as I increase my finances. But don't get yourself so caught up in, like old saying, trying to keep up with the Joneses. You got to try to buy all this stuff because most of the time children fall back on the cheapest thing normally that you got anyway. And that's what they love. And that's what they play with the most. But we are the ones who spend all this time and money out there when really some of our children, when really they need some of our time.
Right.
Because we are so busy throughout the year. Now that we got a couple of days off, sit around the house, make some cookies or do some things together to make family memories together.
Right.
Would it be so crazy to think about Christmas during tax season? So why not put some money back for Christmas?
If you spend big,
If you already know that Christmas is coming next year, even though it's at the end of the year, so why not put a little money back then and create your budget for your Christmas holiday?
That's part of the preparation.
Right.
All right. Number 2. Remember that this year is not the same holiday as ones remember from the past, because last year somebody may have gone through something, or within this, this year, they may be missing a loved one from before. So we can't always just go into the holiday, everybody, that person that you're used to being around may be depressed or feeling down. So don't think that, well, last year we did this, well, this year we can't, because, if you go back to the time when COVID hit, people lost a lot.
Right.
So everybody couldn't do the same thing that they were
Right.
doing before.
Right.
And, somebody could have lost their job, again, lost a loved one, or just feeling down about life. They're not accomplished. They didn't meet their goals or expectations. So they don't want to really celebrate. So we have to remember that, this year may not be the same. So as we go into the holiday season, let's just say we're going to start fresh with the newness, and not just remembering everything from the past.
That's good.
Life is too short to spend a lot of time with people who bring you down. There are a lot of people who are around us that have negative thoughts all the time, and you can feel it. When it's full of negativity. So just stay away from them. Try and do your best not to allow them to bring you down. Find ways that you can help build yourself up. going, like I said, going on those trips, or take you a trip somewhere. It doesn't have to be to Jamaica. It doesn't have to be to Cancun. It can just be to Biloxi.
That's right.
Somewhere that makes you feel good
That's right.
about yourself, being alone and having your own personal time.
Mhm.
All right, the next one. Either
I
one.
shouldn't read this, but put your health first. Exercise, get good sleep, take your vitamins, and meditate. In the new year, I'm gonna do this hard.
Resolution.
It ain't a resolution. It's gonna be a mindset.
Because we only have one temple, and if we
And-
don't take care of it,
You had your turn.
Thank you. I found that exercising and when I get a good night's rest, it helps with my anxiety and it helps me reduce stress.
Okay.
True.
So are you starting to meditate?
I already meditate, but I'm gonna try to start eating healthy.
Okay. I try yoga.
Well,
They have beginners.
look, I got a yoga app and it's some pop pills. Ain't nobody talking to you.
See,
Siri,
there you go,
iPhone
right
was
there.
Siri. iPhone be listening.
All right, you got another one?
I'm also going to try to
Go on, 500.
let go of old shoulds in your thinking.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
If you didn't do it this year, it's not too late. Especially if your mind is still set on reaching that goal. Don't think about, well, I should have did this. I could go into the new year thinking I am going to do this. Like change the way you talk about things. Say I am going to do this. I will do this. Just start being more positive in the way you speak about things, and it'll help you have a more positive outlook on going at that goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
I see you. Well, it don't matter. If you want to go again, or pass Sam again, I'll do one last one.
6 is develop and proclaim an attitude of gratitude. Wow, that's powerful. I think that that's something that we definitely need to incorporate in our life. Be thankful for, man. We are so blessed. A person said I never really thought about. I can't remember quite how I go about shoes until I saw somebody that had no feet,
Right.
or something like that. So we have to be thankful because things could always be worse
Right.
than what they are. We're extremely blessed, and we
Right.
need to be thankful about it. Number
And
8
then,
says,
before you go there, and that proclaiming the attitude of gratitude, that goes with what you gave the church to do before we close out every Sunday.
right,
Is to give a praise.
praise.
If
That's
you
right.
give God a praise, that's proclaiming that gratitude, that you're thankful to God, and we are ready to receive any blessings that He have for us in store.
That's exactly right. 8, try to keep as much as possible to your normal eating habits. Oh, this for Jada. Do not eat to block feelings. And that's, a lot of us are emotional eaters.
Right.
I am.
So we have to understand that, when you have problems, you need to tackle the problem. You
Right.
need to handle it.
Right.
Don't cover it up with something else. Don't use something as a crutch, like eating. And it's so comfortable because in our culture, we're so used to eating, and we use food to compensate for just about everything. When we celebrate, we eat.
Right.
When somebody die, we eat.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is pretty much centered around eating. When we get together, we eat. So, we have to learn how to create better habits.
Better habits. Right.
Number 9, don't try to do it all. Let others help.
Is this one for Pastor?
That is for me.
That's for him and me.
That's for
I'm with
me.
that.
I'm definitely trying to do better about not being so independent
Mhm.
and learning how to allow others to be a blessing in my life. And I think a lot of times we kill others' blessings because we don't receive.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to be better about being able to receive the blessings that God has placed for me through
Right.
somebody else. And it's hard to see, but that's one of the things that I'm really beginning to focus on as I get older. And I'm realizing that I do need help.
Oh yeah,
And you can't draw from a dry or empty well.
absolutely.
That's right. I don't really know what that means, but
Because
my well is
You're
dry.
giving everything
you,
out.
you give
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, I was a little slow.
So even
little
with
slow.
that on number 9, I remember not too long ago, I stopped at the gas station to buy me a Coke. I was going somewhere. And this lady, she was in there buying beer and whatever. And then she had to go to the car and get some. And I was like, man, I wish, I'm in a hurry, this, that, and the other. So she came back in and paid for her stuff. And as I was getting ready to pay for mine, she said, no, hold on, let me pay for yours. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. That's okay. She was like, no, you're not about to block my blessing. I didn't know the woman. You ain't about to block my blessing. I'm finna pay for your cold drink. And that's it. I'm like, okay. And, even with that, something even like that, I'm like, I don't need you to buy it. I don't know why she, of course, I understand why she did it. But my first mind is, I'm good because she was paying for her stuff with food stamps. So I'm like, well, if she's paying for stuff with food stamps, she don't have no extra money really to, to give. So
she bought that car from somebody else. She had plenty of money.
But you know what, though?
Never know.
Sometimes we sell people short in the sense of, well, that may have been her daughter's card that her daughter had, or her son, or one of her grandkids had given to her to repay her for some money that
they done.
So we don't ever know how. We can't look at how the blesser is trying to bless us.
Right.
We just have to look at that was a blessing and move on.
And I've learned that. And I also, I learned this as I saw my dad decline. And as he declined, he was hard to deal with at times. And I had to realize that he was so used to doing things for himself for so long.
Yeah.
And when he couldn't feed himself, he couldn't go to the bathroom by himself. He felt like nothing.
Right.
So we have to, it was just gone away from him. So that kind of helped me to understand, what, I do need people. I do need help. But it's still taking some time to accept it because, people have let you down in the past, but I'm trying to get better. And that's why I wanted to hit that one too. Yeah. I'm trying to get better at accepting help because, I know I can't do it all by myself. But again, I don't mind sharing and saying, hey, I do need help myself. And I know that. But that's what we're here for.
And the song say, I pray for you, you pray for me. We're all a part of God's body. So we're all connected. So it's important that we all understand that we are help for one another, and we have to receive help from one another.
Absolutely.
God bless you. God bless you.
That's called a support system.
A support system. This has been a wonderful year. I really like to thank everyone for sharing, for commenting, for viewing, supporting. We have a new member to our team, and I think she really likes it. And sometimes you never know what you like until you get into the seat and actually get there to start talking. And I think that's the case. But again, I thank you guys. We thank you guys. And before we close out, would you guys like to say anything?
Man, if y'all thought this year was great, just wait on the topics and the things that we're going to discuss. We got 52 new topics for next year. That's amazing, ain't it?
The best is yet to come.
It's going to be spicy. I mean, it's hot. It's fresh. It's
what you selling? Peanuts.
Peanuts, yeah. Hot boiled peanuts. They hot.
I say they hot.
They fresh. They good.
We appreciate everybody for not only supporting the Total Man Initiative, but for supporting Minister Sandifer's vision. And he's making it plain. He's going forward in what God has given him. And we just thank you all for supporting even the church, because this is an arm of the church, a leg of the church. So we just appreciate all the support and love, and the comments, the feedback. But most importantly, we want to make sure that people are taking what's being talked about and actually applying it to their lives. Absolutely. And actually doing some of the stuff we talked about.
Absolutely. Our gift. So our gift.
Oh, I just wanted to say that in the next year, I am going to challenge myself to invite more young people to join the conversation, because we really need to hear that, those comments and that feedback. So that's what I'm going to do in the new year.
Absolutely. Hey guys, we thank you and we love you. And until next time,
Until next year.
Next year.
God bless you.
God
God
bless
keep you.
Throw 'em up.
Until we meet.